Renuka, you can proceed.
Yes, thank you, sir. A very good morning to everyone. I, Dr. Renuka Roy from S.K. Porwal College, Kamti, welcome you all to this session on phrasal verbs and CV writing, which will be taken by renowned academician and researcher Dr. Malati Panga Madam, who is the an associate professor of English in Hislop College, Nagpur. Before we start, let me give a brief introduction of our resource person today. Dr. Malati Panga is an associate professor of English at Hislop College, Nagpur. Madam has 25 years of teaching experience at undergraduate as well as postgraduate level to the students of English literature in Hislop College, Nagpur, which is one of the premium institutes of education in Nagpur. Madam has edited 5 textbooks which are prescribed in the syllabus of RTM Nagpur University, Nagpur. Madam regularly contributes in the form of newspaper article in many English newspapers. She has several research papers published in national and international research journals of great repute. Madam has worked in several university bodies in various capacities. Madam has secured PG Diploma in Journalism from Symbiosis University, PG certificate in teaching of English from English and Foreign Language University of Hyderabad, that is prominently known as IFLU Hyderabad. She is the editor of Hislopian, an award-winning college magazine of her college, which has secured an award at university level. Madam is working on several bodies and committees of her college with great success, and she is an extremely devoted academician and a scholar. And we are very fortunate to have Madam today to give some valuable information and guideline to our students on how to write professional CV and how to use phrasal verb correctly in written and communication skills as well. With these words, I end Madam's introduction here, and I request Madam to take over this session and guide our students.
Good morning, everybody. Am I being audible?
Yeah.
Yes, Madam.
Okay. First, let me start the share screen and then I'll start with the introduction. Just one second. Sorry. Thank you, Renuka, for that wonderful introduction. I don't know if I deserve all those epithets, scholar, academician, renowned academician. Anyway, thank you. So a very good morning to all of you. It's indeed an honor and a privilege to be able to reach out to all of you. At the outset, I wish to thank the organizers for giving me this wonderful opportunity. When the convener of the online lecture series, Dr. Karthik Panikkar, asked me to take phrasal verbs and CV writing, I just said yes without batting an eyelid. This was more so because he's too good a friend to say no to. But later I realized the enormity and the importance of the task that I have taken up. You see, dear students, this lesson will go beyond your classroom, beyond your examination hall, and beyond your examination date. No matter how much you want, You just cannot turn your back on phrasal verbs if you wish to master English. I mean, if you want to speak, understand, appreciate, and master English better. And when it comes to CV writing, we all know it makes the difference between being called for an interview or not being called. So without wasting any time, let's dive into phrasal verbs. But before that, I don't know how many of you noticed, but in this 1 minute introductory speech, I have used quite a few phrasal verbs. And if you remember any of them, why don't you write them in the chat box below? Thank you. So shall we get started? I'll be reading out a few sentences to you. Just notice the difference when the phrasal verbs are being used. Let's postpone the meeting until Friday. Let's put off the meeting until Friday. Remove your shoes when you enter the place. Take off your shoes when you enter the place. Everyone arrived on time for the meeting. Everyone turned up on time for the meeting. They ignored my complaints and it upset me. They brushed aside my complaints and it upset me. How stupid I was. I actually believed his story. How stupid I was. I fell for his story. I couldn't understand what she was saying with all that noise. I couldn't make out what she was saying with all that noise. Did you notice the difference, students? When you use a single word substitute, you sound overly bookish and formal. Whereas when you use these phrasal verbs, you sound informal. You sound more fluent. You sound more like a native speaker. So it's very important to know your phrasal verbs so that you sound more fluent in English. Now, what exactly are these phrasal verbs? Well, as you can see, they have a verb and a particle. Put off. The particle could be a preposition or an adverb. Now, don't get overwhelmed by the terms preposition and adverb. Well, you don't have to know the definition of these as long as you know how to use the phrasal verb properly. Take off. Come here. You can even have a 3-word phrasal verb. Catch up with. Come down on. Zero in on. There are many 3-word phrasal verbs too. You know, you can get a lot of clue from the meaning of the phrasal verb from the particle used. For example, let's take the particle up. See, up expresses the idea of completing or finishing something. For example, I'm sure your mom must be saying this to you. Clear up the mess in your room. Sweep up the rubbish. Drink up your milk. So, you know, when she's after you, I'm sure all her energy is used up. Then you have out, which means not in. Leave out something. By the way, don't leave out phrasal verbs when you're studying for your exams. Cut out. Why don't you cut out a few good articles and identify some phrasal verbs in them? See out, cleared out, sorted out. Cleared out, sorted out gives you the impression of completing something. I cleared out my wardrobe. I sorted out my room. Off, lift off, sent off, clear off. Gives you the impression, the idea of someone or something leaving a place. For example, the space shuttle lifted off at 10:30. The email was sent off. Clear off. This is your private space. This is my private space. On. On has the same linkage as the physical meaning of on. You know, try that shirt on. The stress of examinations is weighing on me. In, again, the same as the physical meaning of in. And then you have around, about. which can be used interchangeably. Now, usually around and about gives the impression of a relaxed state. Like, for example, we waited around till the doctor came. We lazed about on the beaches of Goa. I hang around with my friends after my classes, which I'm sure you must be terribly missing now with the lockdown. But then, phrasal verbs, there is more to phrasal verbs than meets the eye. That is, it might have that concrete meaning, but it could also have an abstract meaning. Look at this one. He got on the bus. That means he boarded the bus. Jack and Jill get on really well. That is, they have a very good relationship. Get on. Now, this is an abstract meaning. Look at this one. You blow up a balloon. You inflate a balloon. The terrorists blew up the building. Blew up. Maybe they planted a bomb there and the building exploded. He blew up when he saw the blunder his subordinate made. He blew up. That is, he got very angry. Look at the multiple meanings of the phrasal verbs. Put down your pens. I'm sure your teacher says this to you once the time is up in your exams. A teacher should never put down her students. I totally agree with this. Should never put down his students. That is, should never humiliate his students. The dog was put down because it became very ferocious. Was put down. That is, it was put to death because it became very ferocious. Don't look up. You might miss your step. Things are looking up now that the second wave of corona is behind us. Now look at this one. Things are looking up. It means things are getting better now that the second wave of corona is behind us. Then you have something called the transitive and intransitive phrasal verbs. These transitive phrasal verbs take an object after them. For example, if I were to say, I agree with, you would say, agree with what? I agree with you. I can't call off. You'd wonder, call off what? I can't call off the match. I came across what? I came across this article. But then you have some intransitive phrasal verbs too, which stand on their own, which are comfortable on their own and don't need an object. For example, we decided to eat out. I wouldn't say we decided to eat out a meal. That would be wrong. So we decided to eat out. When she heard the news, she broke down. She broke down, started crying. Do drop in. So these phrasal verbs don't need an object. And then there is something called separable and inseparable phrasal verbs. What are they? Look at this one. She dropped off the package. She dropped the package off. Can you see the verb and the particle can be separated and the object can be put in between. She dropped the package off. The thunder woke up the children. The thunder woke the children up. I'm looking for some peace. Now look at this phrasal verb. I'm looking for some peace. But you cannot say I'm looking some peace for. That's wrong because it's an inseparable phrasal verb. She looks after the children, but you can't say she looks the children after because again, it's an inseparable phrasal verb. So, there are so many things here. Transitive, intransitive, separable, inseparable. How on earth are you to remember all these phrasal verbs? I mean, there are thousands of phrasal verbs in English. So what are the tips that I can give you? Well, let me share a few. One is that there is no substitute for practice. You have to practice, practice, and practice. See, the thing is, let's say you come across some phrasal verb. I use the phrasal verb come down on, okay? Come down on means criticize. Now you have come across this new phrasal verb. Try using it as many times as possible. For example, you'll say, my mom came down on me because I left the room a mess. Then you'd say, well, my girlfriend came down on me because I missed an appointment. The teacher came down on me because I forgot to hand in the assignment. I should not come down too heavily on myself when I make some errors in English. So, the first time when you use a new word or a new phrasal verb, it might seem a little strange. It's almost as if fireworks have gone off everywhere. But you realize that the other person has taken it very naturally. So you feel a little emboldened. You use it the second time, the third time, and then the fourth time, it slips off your tongue without you knowing it. That means now the word or the phrasal verb has become a part of your system and nobody can take it away from you. Use them in a context. See, many students, what they do, they open a dictionary and try to mug up all the words. That's not the way to go about it. You have to learn to use words in a context. I'll give you an example. Let's say in the classroom scenario, think of the many phrasal verbs that are used. For example, your teacher says, hand out these worksheets, hand in your assignments, rub out what's written on the board, cross out the rough work, then don't miss out on any questions in the exam. So think of all these phrasal verbs. What are the phrasal verbs you use in a classroom context? You say, oh my God, I messed up with my exam today. Or, I have fallen behind in my studies. I need to catch up. So all these are phrasal verbs. And what you have done is learned to use them in a context. Okay, let's say you go out on a trip, on a vacation. What are the phrasal verbs you'd use? Get on the flight, get off the flight, check into a hotel, check out of a hotel, eat out at a fancy restaurant, laze around on the beach. So you have to learn to use these phrasal verbs in a context. Expose yourself to English. So you see, you're a Netflix generation. I mean, you have so many English sitcoms, English television series, documentaries at the flick of a button. I mean, when we were growing up, the only exposure we had to English was through books. We learned it more like a library language, but now you can actually listen to native speakers speaking. So you have to expose yourself to English as much as possible. Read articles, blogs, and I always tell my students to read newspapers. It is like hitting two birds with one stone. One is you improve your language skills, and the second is your general awareness increases. So, expose yourself to English, speak in English, and don't be afraid of making mistakes. Don't be too hard on yourself. If you do commit some mistakes, it's okay. All of us have learned this language this way. Learn from your errors and move on. Again, focus on context, use them in focus on topics and use them in a context would also mean the same. For example, let's say you read a sports article. Try to think of the various phrasal verbs that are used in that sports article. Maybe it says, Virat Kohli didn't give up easily. He put up a fight till the end. Or maybe if you're interested in Bollywood, so be it. Something like, oh, did Alia Bhatt and Ranbir Kapoor break up? No, they didn't. They're getting on just fine. So, use them in a context, focus on topics, almost means the same. Now I'll share with you a few phrasal verbs. Now look at this sentence. He agreed to wear a mask when he was pulled up by the policeman. I agree with you that there is no dearth of COVIDians in our country. You know what a covidiot is, or who a covidiot is? The one who doesn't comply with the lockdown rules, who attends parties or throws parties during a lockdown, wears the mask on his chin. So, I agree with you that there is no dearth of covidiots in our country. All the states agreed on preparing for the third wave. Now look at the difference. There's just a difference of one of the particle. I agreed to, agreed to. You agreed to a course of action. You agreed to a proposal. For example, I say I agreed to take an online lecture. I agreed to teach English. Agree with means you agree with the opinion of the other person. You agree with somebody. When you agree with something, that means you approve of something that's happening. For example, I agree with the lockdown rules being laid down by the administration. That is, you approve of that. Agreed on. Agreed on means when there is a same idea or opinion among many. We all agreed on preparing for the third wave. Got it? When many people have the same opinion about something. Could you choose the correct option here? He dash do business with her. You're right. It is he agreed to do business with her because he agreed to a course of action. He knows that the best way to please a boss is to dash whatever he says. Is it agree upon or agree with? You're right. It is agree with whatever he says. So let's call out some phrasal verbs with call. This is something you do all the time. Call up your friends, right? So next time you should not say, I phoned my friend. What are you going to say? I called her up, or I called my friend up. That means you called her up. Call off, call off, cancel, call off an engagement, call off a meeting, call off a marriage, to cancel something. Now look at this one. Call on somebody. Mind the particle on. Call on somebody. Call on somebody means to pay a visit to somebody. She called on her sick friend. That is, she paid a visit to her sick friend. Can you choose the correct option here? She was in town. As she was in town, she decided to dash her friend and have a cup of coffee with her. What should it be? She decided to call on her friend. Call on her friend. That is, pay a visit. When she heard the news of her friend's success, she immediately called her up. That is, she phoned her. She immediately called her up. Am I going a little fast? Okay. Let's use some phrasal verbs with break. Can you see here? The car has broken down. The car has broken down. The lovers have had a breakup. The kid has broken out into laughter. The inmate has broken out of a prison and he's at large. The thief has broken into the house. Broken into a house, that would mean enter a house illegally, using force. Now, breakout can have many meanings. It can be used in a negative way. It is mostly used in a negative way. For example, there was a breakout of COVID cases in April and May in India. There was a breakout of COVID cases. War broke out for a while in Israel, right? Then What else? An argument broke out between the two. You also use breakout when you say you developed a rash. For example, I had peanuts and then I had a breakout. That means you had a rash. So these are the many ways in which you can use breakout. Breakup, of course, thanks to Bollywood, you know the meaning of breakup. Now, can you see something? What can you see here? The girl has broken down. Broken down, she started crying. And why has she broken down? Because she's broken up with her boyfriend. Okay? Then look at the second picture. I called her up to console her, but I couldn't get through to her because she said my voice was breaking up. This is something that happens to all of us. It is called you're breaking up. You're breaking up. I can't hear you. You're breaking up. Got it? So the next time, don't say what. All you have to say is your voice is breaking up. Could you repeat that again? Now let's use come in some phrasal verbs. I'm doing a research project in language teaching, but I came across somebody who's done an identical study. I came across somebody. That is, I happened to meet somebody by chance who's done an identical study. Now I've got to come to a decision. That is, I've got to make a decision now. Do I want to continue with my project or not? My professor will come down on me if I don't consult him regarding this. That is, come down on me, scold me if I don't consult him regarding this. Finally, my decision will come down to what my professor recommends. Come down to. Look at the difference in meaning. My decision will come down to. That is, will finally depend on what my professor recommends. Come down on, come down to. Just the difference of one particle, but look at the difference in the meaning. I'm sure he'll come up with a solution. Come up with something. That is, think of a solution. You know, like when you're in a crisis, your family members, your friends say, come on, relax. We'll come up with something. We'll come up with something. That is, think of a solution. Now let's deal with phrasal verbs using deal. Again, you'll see that just a difference in the particle makes all the difference in the meaning. As a boutique owner, she deals in women's clothing. She deals in. That means she does business in women's clothing. But she cannot deal with her customers when they throng to her shop. She cannot deal with her customers. Deal with her customers. Manage her customers. She cannot deal with her customers when they throng to her shop, when she deals out discounts. When she deals out discounts, when she distributes discounts. Now look at this one. He deals in cocaine and drugs. Again, it means he does business in cocaine and drugs. I'm sure he'll have to deal with the consequences. Face the consequences. Like we all have to deal with our problems in life. Deal with. The judge would deal out a harsh sentence for such an offense. Would deal out. That is, say what punishment be given or hand out the punishment. Okay? The judge would deal out a harsh sentence for such an offense. Can you tell me what the correct word would be here? A jeweler dash gold and precious stones. Would it be deals with or deals in? A jeweler deals in gold and precious stones. Deals in, does business in gold and precious stones. A school teacher's job is difficult because she has to dash so many overactive, energetic kids. Total respect to school teachers. Why? Their job is difficult. And why is it difficult? Because she has to deal with so many energetic kids, deal with, manage so many energetic kids. Now let's get on with get. Get. Get a grip. What does it mean? Get a grip. Come on, get a grip on yourself. It's like, when you break down or you're very nervous, your parents, your friends say, come on, get a grip on yourself. That is, recover yourself, control yourself. Get a life. I'm sure your mom must be saying this to you, if you spend too much of time in front of the television or too much of time on your smartphone. Get a life. That is, come on, do something interesting with your life. Get a life. Get ahead. You have to plan in life to get ahead, right? Get ahead, become successful. Get dressed. You know what it is. Get on. Come on, get on with the lecture. Get on. Carry on. Make progress. Get along with somebody. Have a friendly relationship. I get along with her very well because our views match. Get along. Get lost. Go away. Must have heard it a lot of times. Get lost. Now get around to doing something. Get around to doing something is like, you're reluctant to do something, but you finally end up doing it. I just didn't want to do the assignment, but somehow I got around to doing it. Get around. Get well. Of course, you know what get well is. Get real. Like, let's say, the whole of India being vaccinated by August. Come on, get real. We are 1 billion people. That is, be realistic. Get real. Get fired. I hope you are never fired in your life. Get fired. Get used to it. Aadat kar lo. Get used to it. And get back. You say, well, I'll get back to you soon. Got it? Get back. It's nice to get together with people you get on with. Get together with people you get on with. Get on with. Have a friendly relationship with. Oh, I need to get on with my work. I got behind because I spent too much of time on the internet. I have to get on with my work, continue with my work. I got behind. That is, piche pad gaya. I got behind because I spent too much of time on the internet. Oh, let's get this meeting over with. That is, let's finish this meeting. Let's get this meeting over with. Or else we'll never get away before the rush hour and it takes ages to get home. I can't get over how she manages to get away with doing so little. I can't get over. I'm so shocked. How does she manage to get away with doing so little? Some people, they have this knack of doing very little work, but they manage to escape criticism, punishment, and all, get away with. So I can't get over. That is, I'm still surprised as to how she manages to get away with doing so little. Like, oh, he's so charming that he can even get away with murder. That is, escape punishment. Let's jump at the chance to use phrasal verbs with jump. Jump at the chance. Be excited. What is it that would excite you now? I think this is what would excite you. The son jumped at the idea when his father suggested that they throw him a birthday party. I mean, imagine after this lockdown, after being away from people, if your father suggests that let's throw a birthday party, you'll jump at the idea. Jump at the idea, be excited. But you know what? Many a time it's the mother who's the party pooper. What does she say? But his mother jumped in to remind him that although everything has opened up, the virus is still there. Jumped in, entered the conversation. So, if you want to interrupt somebody, you can just say, could I jump in here? That means, can I enter the conversation here? I've got something to say. Could I jump in here? The mother warned them that everybody would jump on them if the party turns out to be a super spreader of the virus. Everybody would jump on them, criticize them. Like if you have made a mistake, people jump on you. That is criticize you. Now let's keep up with phrasal verbs using keep. What has happened during the pandemic? The pandemic has made you keep away from people. How unfortunate is that, isn't it? But we had to keep away from people. So guys, how did you keep up with your friends then? Did you use the social media to keep up with your friends? Keep up with your friends to be informed as to what is happening in their lives. I hope the lockdown didn't make you keep to yourself altogether. Keep to yourself. This could have happened. Many people might be keeping to themselves. Keeping to themselves means becoming a loner, avoiding all interaction with people. Please don't keep to yourself. Reach out to people using your phone, social media. By the way, if you're keeping to yourself, then you'll find it difficult to keep up with the pace of life. Keep up with something. Move at the same rate, okay? Keep up with the pace of life once we open up. For example, keep up. Like a Nagpurian will find it difficult to keep up with the pace of life in Mumbai. Got it? Now let's throw some light on phrasal verbs using light. Look at this one. On Diwali, we light up our houses with lamps. Light up. We don't lighten up our houses with lamps. Will you remember that? And I know why people use lighten up, because it rhymes with brighten up. You do say brighten up, but you don't say lighten up. What do you say? You light up the houses with lamps. Hey, lighten up. This is only a class on phrasal verbs, not on rocket science. Lighten up, relax. Okay? Can you use the right phrase here? What should it be for A? Should it be light up or lighten up? That's right. It is light up. Light up the house. It's too dark. Light up the house. And what about the B one? Lighten up. Must be your state of mind before exams. But you know what? Lighten up. Just lighten up and enjoy your studies. Lighten up. Relax. Now let's look at some phrasal verbs with look, or let's look into, investigate. Things are looking up. I'm starting from here, okay? Look up. I'm starting from there and going clockwise. Look up to become better. Things are looking up now. Things are getting better. Look after. You know, your mother still looks after you, doesn't she? Look after, to take care of somebody. If you have a pet, do you look after it? Look over, like I asked my daughter to look over the presentation that I made. That is, examine something quickly, look over something. Look for, you know, like look for phrasal verbs. When you're reading something, look for some interesting turn of phrases, look for some phrasal verbs, to look for, to search for something. Look around, look around.
Madam, there is some interruption in your voice. Madam. Madam, am I audible to you? There is some interruption in your voice. No, 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 not yet. Is there anyone who will assist you? There is some interruption in the voice. Kindly unmute yourself. Madam, you have muted yourself. Kindly unmute it. Everything is fine. You have to just unmute yourself.
Can you hear me, Renuka?
Yeah, yeah. Now.
So since when have you not been able to hear me? Renuka? Renuka? Oh my God. Renuka? Hello? क्या करना? Renuka, can you hear me?
Yes, 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 yes. I also got disconnected for a moment.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
I was wondering. Okay, just one second.
Now it is audible. You can once again share your slide, madam.
Renuka, since when have I not been audible?
Yes, yes. This slide only.
Okay.
Phrasal verbs, look after, and look up. Yeah.
Okay.
It is going great, madam.
Thank you, dear.
One of the best.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Yes.
Now
Please
look around. Look around means like, look around Nagpur. Look around Nagpur and you'll find quite a few heritage sites. Look out. Look out. Hey, watch out. There's a pothole here. Plenty of them on our roads. Look ahead. Think about the future. Look ahead. So guys, you're at the threshold of your life. You should look ahead. Think of the future. Now look at this. Look up to somebody and look down on somebody. Now guys, here it's not the literal meaning that you have to take. Look up to doesn't mean you are short and the other person is tall, okay? It just means you respect or admire somebody. So who do you look up to? Your parents, your teachers? Who is your hero? So next time you say, oh, I look up to my father. He's such an inspiration. Look down on. Treat somebody as inferior. Okay? Renuka, all well?
Yes, madam. Yes.
Thank you.
It's absolutely fine.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you.
Now, could you fill this blank? Are you dash meeting your teachers in person? In person means actually meeting them. So are you looking up to, looking forward to, looking at? It is looking forward to. Are you looking forward to meeting your teachers in person? I'm sure you dash your teachers. You look up to your teachers. You look up to your teachers. That is, you respect them. Once you pass with flying colors, I hope you don't dash those who don't do that well. What should it be? Look down on, look forward to, look over. It is look down on. Niche dekhna. So I hope you won't look down on those who don't do that well. I hope you never look down on anybody. Just remember that. Now let's have some phrasal verbs with makeup. One is like, makeup, constitute. Like people over 65 make up 30% of the population. Or you know what? In India, youngsters make up more than 70% of our population. Ours is such a young country. Make up, constitute. And then make up, invent a story. Like, when your teacher asks you why you didn't attend a class, what do you say? You make up a story, don't you? We all do. Make up a story, invent a story. Okay? Then the third is compensate. I make up for it. Let's say you miss your friend's party. So you say, oh, I'm so sorry I missed your party, but I make up for it by throwing you a party. Okay? Or maybe you tell your teacher, may I leave work earlier today and make up tomorrow? Make up, compensate. And then make up, end a disagreement. Like, Shah Rukh Khan and Salman Khan had a fight. You remember that? But they eventually made up. Ended their disagreement. Like, you argue with your siblings, your brothers or sisters, but you do eventually make up, don't you? That is end a disagreement. Now, I'll share with you some words which have been said by different people. John says, I can't make out what she's saying. Can you? Johnny says, I made up a story about losing my wallet, so he paid the bill for me. Jonathan says, I treated her a little insensitively at the party, and so I gave her a present to make up for it. Now, can you please tell me who is the one who wants to restore a damaged relationship here? You are right. It is Jonathan. Who has difficulty hearing something here? You're right again. It's John, right? Who invented something that was not true? It was Johnny. He made up a story. Now let me pass on some past phrasal verbs. When someone dies, you say he passed away. Like only a few days back, Milkha Singh passed away. When someone goes past you, you say, oh, he or she just passed me by. Just passed me by. When someone misses a good opportunity, you say, oh, she passed up such a good chance. Passed up a chance, missed an opportunity. How could you pass up a chance to go to Europe? Pass up a chance, miss an opportunity. When you want someone to convey a message, you say, could you please pass on this message to her? Pass on this message. And the final one, when someone loses consciousness, you say, well, he or she passed out, passed out. That means losing consciousness. In India, we say she passed out of Hislop College. She passed out of RTMNU. Well, she didn't lose consciousness. So when I tell this, many people say, then what is to be said if it's not she passed out? Well, you can say she finished her graduation, or she graduated from RTMNU. She graduated from Hislop College. She finished her studies in 2020. Don't say she passed out in 2020. I mean, in India, people might understand you, but if you go abroad and say this, they'll say, oh, did she lose her consciousness in 2020? So remember, I graduated, or I finished my graduation in 2020. So remember, students, when you graduate from RTMNU, please don't pass out. That is, don't lose your consciousness. You have, after all, passed your exams. Don't pass up the chance to celebrate. Don't miss the chance to celebrate. Take it upon yourself to improve your English language skills. That is, assume that responsibility, take that responsibility of improving your English language skills. You may feel frustrated at times, but don't take it out on your near and dear ones. Take it out. Gussa nikalna kisi pe. And we tend to take it out on our near and dear ones. Some naysayers may try to talk out of your efforts. There are some people who are so negative. They'll talk you out of your efforts. They'll discourage you. But once you have shown significant improvement, they will have to take back their words. Got it? So guys, I walked you through so many phrasal verbs. Walked you through. That is, I explained to you so many phrasal verbs. No matter what, remember one thing, you just cannot walk away from phrasal verbs if you want to master the English language, if you want to, speak better. You just cannot walk away from phrasal verbs. So the best way forward is to work your way through your doubts, work your way through your difficulties by practicing, and work on mastering your phrasal verbs. Now, let's zero in on some CV writing. Zero in on. By the way, I have heard many people say, let's zero on. It's not zero on. It's a 3-word phrasal verb. Let's zero in on some CV writing. Hope you haven't zoned out and you're all set for CV writing. Zoned out. I hope you haven't lost your focus and you're all set for CV writing. So now we'll start with CV writing. Let me start with something. Opportunities don't happen. You create them. What exactly does this mean? Your CV is nothing short of an advertisement. And who's the product here? You are the product, right? So, you have to create opportunities for yourself. And how do you do that? Your CV gives you that first stepping stone, that opportunity to be called for an interview. So, you come across words like this. We are hiring. Send us your CV or resume. By the way, it's pronounced resume. There are many who say resume. It is not resume. It is resume. Send us your CV, curriculum vitae. What exactly is a CV or a resume? Actually, a CV or a resume is nothing but a summary of your educational qualifications, your accomplishments, your skill sets, and your work experience. This is very important, Ask yourself if what you're doing today is getting you closer to where you want to be tomorrow. What exactly does this mean? You know, Rome was not built in a day, and neither will your CV be. That is, you'll have to start working from today itself. It's like building, it's like, you know, a building is made brick by brick. So is your CV with your qualifications, your skill sets, your accomplishments, your experience. So when is the right time to start? I would say now, especially if you're first year students, you're just at the threshold of your life. Now is the time to start. So what are you to do? You know, apart from your graduation, uh, take up some certificate courses. You have Coursera, you have Udemy. Take up some certificate courses. Do some social work. Participate in some extracurricular activities, because all these things are going to build your CV. So now is the time to start. Skill up. What exactly is a skill? I'll just give you an example. You know, knowledge is when you know that a tomato is not a vegetable but a fruit. That is knowledge. Wisdom is when you know that a tomato cannot be used or should not be used in a fruit salad. What is skill? Skill is when you know how to chop those fruits and make a fruit salad. I mean, you may have all the knowledge and wisdom in the world, but if you don't have the skill set, it's of no use. So skilling up is very important. This is what your recruiter is looking for. He doesn't care about how much you have scored in your exams. What he's looking for is your skill set. What is it that you're able to do? And you know, just because you have one skill doesn't mean you can pause, you can relax. You have to upskill yourself. Using the same example, now you know how to chop vegetables and make a fruit salad. That skill you do have. How can you upskill yourself to survive in the market? You know, you should learn to chop those fruits in a fancy way, or maybe look for a dressing that will make your salad even more appetizing. So, you know, the only way to survive in a market is to keep upskilling yourself. So there are two types of skills, soft skills and hard skills. Now, hard skills are those skills which you require for a specific job, you know, for a job specific task. For example, programming, you know, coding, programming, then a mushroom cultivation, let's say your lab technician's job. These are all hard skills. And how can you develop your hard skills? You can do that by, you know, attending some course or a vocational training. But you know, no man is an island unto himself. No matter what, you have to interact with other people. Like, you know, you have to interact with your customers in order to sell your product. You have to lead a team. So for all that, you need soft skills. So what are these soft skills? Communication is important, leadership skills, team spirit. You should know how to work in a team, time management, self-regulation. How do you learn to manage your emotions? All these are soft skills. Can soft skills be learned in a course? Unfortunately, no. You have to work on them over a period of time, and you can do that only by exposing yourself, you know, to new experiences, assuming new responsibilities. Now, you know, when you start writing the CV, you might stare at the blank piece of page, or you might stare at your blank screen, you know. You might develop a writer's block, and that's perfectly normal. So what do? You gather courage, first of all, and then you gather all the information that you have about yourself. You know, what are the various, apart from your graduation, what are the certificate courses that you did? What are the various volunteering jobs that you did? You know, gather everything that you have, gather your information first. Your first draft needn't be your final one. So the first step is to gather information. Now I'll just share with you one CV. By the way, the numbers that you see, those are for your benefit. They are not to be written in the CV. Okay? See, number one, did you notice one thing? He's used a very professional looking template. You don't see any flowers or multicolors. It is a very professional looking template with just two colors. Second, number two, your contact address, be reachable. Make sure you write the right contact address and the right phone number. Third, skills. Show off your skills. Now show off your skills because, that is what the recruiter would look for. That is what the recruiter would zero in on, your skills. Look at the way the soft skills have been written. He didn't say I'm a leader, I can communicate. He just wrote brand positioning and storytelling, project management, team leadership, communication. Meaning to say he's had experience in all these fields. And of course, hard skills, whatever hard skills you develop. Number 4, make sure you mention the name of your company, list your experience. That is, include each company that you have worked for. And number 5, did you notice one thing? He's quantified his achievements. For example, here he talks about how he collaborated and designed a website and how the website visits have come to 1 lakh website visits. So he's quantified the website visits. That is what you have to do. Let's say you want to say that you have improved the sales of the company. Please mention the number. Improve the sales by 27%. How much? Now, sixth is include other positions that you have had. Maybe it could be, some kind of a volunteering you have done, some kind of an internship that you have done. Do mention that. Your education. Apart from your graduation degree, you can also mention about the various certificate courses that you have done. And don't mention to forget the years, okay? And of course, don't forget number 8, any other additional information that you want to give. For example, he mentions about being an avid cyclist and a jazz piano player. You can mention that, just the small details, but not too much if it's not relevant to your CV. And number 9, did you notice one thing? There's a lot of white space given. That is, he's kept it concise. He hasn't made it too cluttered. The CV is not too cluttered. So limit your resume to only 1 or 2 pages. And if you have work experience, of course, you can put your work experience over your education. But let's say you don't have much of work experience, then look at this CV. Here in this CV, he's mentioned the objective too. Objective is completely optional. Okay. Then he's mentioned his graduation, what he majored in, what he minored in. He has mentioned the year too. Expected June 1995. That is when the result was expected. Now look at this. He's divided his skills into different categories: management, sales, communication, leadership. And like, even if you don't have much work experience, if you have participated in some extracurricular activities, done some social work, you can always mention that under these categories. Let's say that you organized a cultural event in your college. That can go under management. Let's say you're part of the entrepreneurial development cell and you make certain things and sell them in order to raise funds for, say, underprivileged kids. You can put that in sales. Communication. Let's say you have communicated with all the alumni and, sought funds from them. That can come under communication. If you have made a brochure, created a brochure, that can come under communication. So, that's how you have to manage your skills, organize your skills. Now, there's something very important I want to tell you. Use action words to tell what you did. For example, action words give that much needed punch to your CV. They show that you are a man of action. For example, developed and implemented a fundraising program for an orphanage which brought in rupees 10,000. See, I have quantified the figure also, how much money I have brought in, not just which brought in a lot of money. You have to quantify it. And see, it sounds so much better than was part of a fundraising program. So use those action words. See, like for example, your college is organizing an international conference and you're kept at the information desk. So you can jazz it up a little and say, assisted in managing participants at the information desk of an international conference. Instead of just saying was at the information desk of an international, or sorry, it should be conference here. Again, it would sound so wishy-washy if you just say participated in a tree plantation drive. Instead, what can you say? Planted around 100 trees. See, again, quantifying it as part of the environment cell of the college. Instead of was part of women's development cell of the college, you can just say promoted gender equality through talks and programs. Promoted. So these are all action words, and these words jazz up your CV, show you that you are a man of action. Please don't discount anything. Like, for example, oh, it was just a certificate course. Why should I mention it? No, you need to mention it if it's relevant to your job. Whatever volunteering you have done, maybe this volunteering you have done on your own, maybe providing assistance to COVID warriors, that is the health workers. If you have provided assistance, do mention that. That shows your initiative, your leadership qualities. Awards, honors, whatever you have, do mention it. Paid work experience. But you know what? There are certain things you need to forget. What are they? First of all, don't state the obvious by writing resume or CV on top. I mean, just looking at it, the person would know that it's a CV. So you don't have to mention the obvious. Now, why should you not give your salary information? Many a time what happens, it allows the prospective employer to eliminate you completely. He might say, oh my God, he's too expensive for me. I don't need him. Or if it's too less, he'll say, well, I can get away with paying him very little. So please keep the salary information to yourself right now. Personal statistics. No one is interested in how tall you are, how fair or how dark you are, whether you're married. This has got no bearing on the job that you're doing. So please don't mention that. Photos. Unless you're applying for a modeling job, don't give your photos. It looks totally unprofessional. Then personality profiles. Don't say, well, I'm hardworking, dedicated, I'm loyal, I'm driven. Don't say all that, because you know what? The person reading it knows that it's all very biased. He won't take it seriously. Let your work speak for itself. You don't have to tell that you're driven or you are hardworking. No nicknames or pet names. Like for example, if your name is Suraj and people call you Sunny, don't write Sunny in your CV. Okay? And then unprofessional sounding emails like greatlooks@gmail.com or hotlooks@gmail.com. Please don't have such email IDs. Have more professional sounding ones. Many a time, unfortunate though it may be, your CV may only be looked at for just 6 seconds. That is, it's very important to have a good looking CV. So what makes a great looking CV? Don't cram or clutter your CV. First of my slide though is a little cluttered. Let me admit that. Then use Times Roman or Calibri or Arial typeface. See, you might have a treasure trove of typefaces to use, but please stick to only the professional ones, these three, and keep your font size between 10 and 12. Use caps and underlining only for section heads. Sometimes what people do, they use this even in the body of the CV, and that interrupts with the flow of the person reading it. Use generous margins, that is 1 inch on all the sides. Use ragged right layout. Like right now, my slide has a ragged right layout. That is, the alignment is on the left hand side. Stick to bullet points, please, and don't write paragraphs. The idea of having a bullet point is to give bursts of information. That is what you have to do. So, when before you hand in your CV, look at the big picture. Have I addressed the needs of the employer? Did I tell him that I have what he needs? Is my CV too long or cluttered? If it is, remove some unnecessary information. Does every element count? Like, if you have won some fancy dress competition, please don't mention that in your CV, because it's got nothing to do with the work you're going to do. But let's say if you have won a personality contest and you're applying for a sales job, then there's nothing wrong in mentioning that, because you want to show that you have a very charismatic personality. Look at the little picture. The devil lies in the details. So just make sure you have the correct contact address. You have mentioned all your skill set, experience, education. Proofread your CV. Tedious though it may be, please proofread your CV. It's tedious to proofread something, but you have got to do it. And you know what? You have to ask someone to look over your CV, go through your CV, because some mistakes, some errors might escape your eyes. The more eyes, the better. So skill up and make a great CV. And there's no reason why you won't be hired. You're hired. Thank you so much, students, for being with me through this. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, madam. It was indeed a very wonderful session, and I learned so much from your session today, and really nice. And we are very happy that the concluding session, it was one of the best painted leaf of our entire series. And students, they really require these basics to do well in their career. And thank you very much for madam. You have painstakingly prepared such a wonderful presentation. Very nice slides with good illustration. I'm really thankful on behalf of all the stakeholders of this online series. I wish to make a formal sum up of madam's session. Madam has dealt with basics of phrasal verbs, and she has shed light on multiple meanings of phrasal verbs and their contextual application. Madam has elaborated on transitive and intransitive phrasal verbs, separable and inseparable phrasal verbs, and she has given many real life examples and situations where we can effectively use phrasal verbs and be a very good communicator. She has effortlessly discussed how we can blend this verb and preposition, and can do wonders when we use it discreetly in our day-to-day communication. And she has also elaborated on the kind of mistakes that we might commit in our regular use of phrasal verb. Madam, I must wish to congratulate you that the students who will be appearing for competitive examination, this session of yours will be of great help for them. because
you.
in common errors in phrasal verbs, this is one of the prominent portion of competitive examination. I'm very thankful to you, madam, and madam has very nicely carried forward this phrasal verb into CV writing, and she has given wonderful presentation on modern CV writing skills. Madam is a wonderful soft skills trainer that I could perceive from her presentation. We are very thankful, madam, for this wonderful presentation of yours. And without taking much of your time, I now request Dr. Panikar sir, who is the pillar, who is the main, what we can say, guiding force of the entire process, to kindly conclude this session, this last session of the day. Over to Dr. Panikar.
Yeah, thank you, Renuka, and thank you, Dr. Malati Panga, for the wonderful presentation. And I suppose it's going to be of immense use to the students. I mean, beyond the textbook, beyond the examination, beyond, as Dr. Panga rightly said, beyond the examination date also. And it would be more useful to them, especially when they appear for these competitive exams, when they go for the interview sessions, when they have to carry their CVs with them. And that's going to be the first impression, but the most important impression that they would be giving to their employers, prospective employers. Before I say something, I would like to invite Dr. Akhilesh Peshwe to speak a few words on behalf of the collaborating institutions. I mean, as a member of the Board of Studies and as one of the important resource persons, he has already spoken to all of us. But then on behalf of the, because we don't have any formal valedictory function, so I take this opportunity to invite Dr. Akhilesh Peshwe to say a few words on behalf of the collaborating institutions. Dr. Malati Panga, please stay with us. Yeah.
Thank you, Karthik. Big congratulations to Malti. Wonderful presentation. I mean, many points to learn. Karthik, this actually is your innovation, and we all as principals, all of us are very happy about the initiative you have taken. And so the most befitting, concluding valedictory speech we can come only from you. And we're very happy to be a part of all this, and particularly even Renuka Roy madam was like very hardworking. Everybody has worked hard, and so please, we would like now to know more from you, and so you please take over from here.
Thank you, Dr. Peshwe. As we come to the end of this 9-day lecture series, just a minute. Yes, as we come to the end of this 9-day lecture series, I have this sense of fulfillment that we have done something good for the students. I mean, I have been, yesterday I was going through the YouTube videos, and none of those videos have less than 500 views. So, some of them have actually crossed 1,500 views. So I suppose in the next few days before the students appear for the examination, I'm sure that teachers have done a great job with the curriculum. But then, dear students, some of the resource persons who have been speaking to you have contributed immensely in the development of the textbook. If that textbook has come up really well, then the credit must go to all these people who have worked hard on making the textbook what it has finally come out as. I take this opportunity to thank the principals of all the collaborating institutions, principal of our college, Dr. Vikas Domne, principal of Dharampet MP Dev Memorial Science College, Nagpur, Dr. Akhilesh Peshwe, principal of S.K. Porwal College, Dr. M.B. Bagde, principal of Shivaji Science College, Dr. M.P. Dore, and principal of Nabira Mahavidyalaya, Dr. Sunil Kumar Naveen, for their patronage, for coming together, for agreeing to come together and supporting this humble endeavor on the part of the members of the Board of Studies. And I cannot forget the support that I got from the members of the Board of Studies who worked with me in the syllabus revision committee and for the finalization of the textbook as well. Special thanks, very, very special thanks to the team that you may not have seen in front of you, but they were all doing a lot of hard work behind the scenes. You know, Dr. Renuka Roy, Dr. Manish Chakravarti, Dr. Hashmi, Gizala Hashmi, and I would like to name all the resource persons. You all know the resource persons, but it's my duty to thank them all personally. Dr. Veena Joseph, Dr. Akhilesh Peshwe, Dr. Sunil Kumar Naveen, Dr. Manish Chakravarti, Dr. Shraddha Deshpande, Dr. Savita Devgirkar, Dr. Umesh Bansod, and finally Dr. Malati Panga. I can't thank them enough. In fact, I don't know how to repay this debt that I owe to them. Without their magical contribution, this series wouldn't have been what it has been, in fact. So thank you. It was great pleasure working with all the team members. And dear students, I can promise you that the material that we would be providing you in the days to come, we'll try to share it with all the students. We'll be uploading it on the websites of our colleges as well. We'll be giving you in a proper format where you will be provided with the links of all these lectures as well as the question bank on all the prescribed questions. So you will have a lot of material with you to go through before the examination comes. I suppose your examination is still a month away. So even if you forget what your teachers have taught you, you can go back to these lectures. They are available on the YouTube channel. You can revisit them and listen to them at your convenience. That is the best part of technology that we have. Thank you so much. I look forward to all the students doing well in the examination and beyond the examination also. All these items that we had described have a lot of life skills involved in them. So we want you to not only do well in the examination, but do well in life also. And if even 50% or say 20% of that aim is achieved, then I suppose our entire hard work that has gone into the making of the syllabus and the book would be fulfilled to a great extent. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, now, Renuka, you can conclude the meeting.
Yes, yes. It is indeed a pleasure for me to know so many people who had been working for so many years, hard working so many years to make this syllabus useful and to make it reachable, accessible to our students. I am really thankful to be one of the parts of this entire endeavor, this lecture series of B.Sc compulsory English. And I'm thankful at the beginning. I'm thankful to Dr. Karthik Panikar sir, who is the chairman of Board of Studies of Languages of Science and Technologies, RTM Nagpur University, Nagpur, for extending this opportunity to us. I'm thankful to principals of all the 5 collaborating colleges for their constant support and encouragement. I may fail in my duty if I do not extend my heartfelt thanks to all the resource persons who have very nicely prepared, very diligently prepared their presentations and presented it before the students, and without any interruption. We are very lucky that we could successfully carry out this series without any interruption. In this pandemic situation also, the teachers have given their best, and they have ensured that the students will be benefited from this entire project. I am thankful to all the committee members, Dr. Pise, Dr. Umesh Bansod, Dr. Shraddha Deshpande, for being with me, for collaborating with us. And I am thankful to everyone who have directly or indirectly helped us in this venture. Thank you so much. I hope to have a good experience of working with this team again in future. And I wish the best to this team for the future endeavors. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we wind up. Okay, good day. Thank you so much.
Good day, good day.